What's going on, you guys? It's your huggable hipster here, and I did the wrong intro for the wrong channel. Fuck my life.
Oh no. It gets programmed after a while.
You know what? I'm just gonna go. Bye, Alan. What's going on, you guys? It's Ariel here. Welcome back to the Gamer's Wristband. The fuck? What's going on, you guys? What's going on, you guys? It's Ariel Dannon here. Wow, I finally managed to say my name. Welcome to the Gamer's Respite after a bajillion years. I am here with a friend of mine, Alan Torres. Thank you so much for joining me in today's podcast for the Gamer's Respite.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We are going to be discussing all things gaming. Alan is you have so many titles at this point. I am not sure. You're like a chameleon.
I'm collecting them all.
You are a senior, Pokemon. You are a senior producer at Owlchemy. I am very excited for you because you've been going from IGN, Kotaku, Variety. You've just been doing all the things, and now you finally found your forever home in gaming. So I'm very excited for you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been a lot. I think I have bylines almost everywhere at this point.
So I have to ask though, like what was the first place that, like, what was your first byline at? We have to know this.
For like a larger site, it was Kotaku. Up until that point, it was a bunch of like small independent sites that like paid me like a cent per word or something like that. Yeah. And then finally, I just started doing my own thing on YouTube. And then, for Kotaku, covering Skyrim mods was like my first big thing.
Damn, yeah. That's amazing though. And I think that was kind of like, the moment of when you get your first byline at a big place, you're just like, this is really awesome. I have like somewhat sort of bragging rights now.
Yeah, it was so nice. Because that like got my foot in the door to start pitching to like other people. And then I could now point them with links towards like my stuff at Kotaku. And yeah. So it snowballed after that.
Yeah, same. No, I got my first start at, Game Informer, and I did the video edits for the review of Assassin's Creed Mirage and the Bordeaux interview that they did.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, this is my foot in the door, and then everything was like going from there, which people, I think, underestimate how quick it goes once people see your name and other things, and they're like, oh, for this, now they want you for that. I'm like, damn, okay, that went by really quickly.
Yeah, I remember like applying to so many sites for so long, and then like even IGN, I think I had applied for like 6 years, and then like what it took was my editor at Digital Trends going to IGN and bringing up my name once, and they were like, hey, they need someone to edit news videos for them, and I'm like, okay, cool.
That's awesome. See, yeah, and that's pretty cool too, of where it's like it turns from like a childhood dream into something that's tangible. And I feel like that's one of the things I want to touch on first was, what was it that got you into wanting to go into the games industry?
It's G4 TV's fault. As a kid watching G4, and like I remember the coverage for the Xbox 360 launch, and just being like, I want to do this. Like I want to be a part of this somehow. Like I have no idea how, but I want to be part of this. And so, yeah. And then like in college, I went to school for film, but nice. I was almost done by the time I was like, I don't want to work in film. And thankfully a lot of those skills transfer over, and I was like, I wanted to start doing stuff in like games media. And so, so I went that route.
Very cool. Yeah. So whenever you were in games media and you were starting out, what was that kind of definitive moment? Because I know you said that your big start was in Kotaku. But what was that shifting point of where you went over to Owlchemy?
There was a lot of time between Kotaku and Owlchemy, and like there was like a lot of different sites I was freelancing for. But it mostly happened because I went from being a freelancer at IGN to being staff, and they had like some restructuring they had to do 1 year. And so after that, I had kind of posted like, hey, I'm looking for work. And my manager now at Owlchemy messaged me and was like, don't take job offers like at all. We're going to message you in a few days. And I was like, oh, okay. And very luckily, I got scooped up right away, and I started doing contract work for them. And like a couple of months in, they were like, do you want a full-time position? So yeah, I was very, very fortunate.
Yeah, that seems like it kind of, once you got the ball rolling, it was really like kind of quick as well, which is really cool. And also you work with one of my best friends, Liana Rupert.
Yes, she is wonderful. Yeah. She's awesome. We had like seen that she was looking for work, and I messaged my manager and I was like, "Get Liana, please."
She's just a ray of sunshine. I absolutely love that woman so
Yeah.
much. Liana, if you're watching, hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well. And she's just wonderful. Like she is the best, I think the best definition of the word whimsy that I can come up with. She is just
Yes. She's whimsy and chaos in the best way. And I have like after going, we did like an event for work where we went on a ghost hunt together to promote our Halloween event last year. Formative experience in the industry. That was crazy. um,
I can
yeah,
only
she's just so
imagine.
much fun.
Yeah, no, wait, okay, ghost hunting. Now I need to know about this. Was this like an entire project that was done? I need to know because I'm all about ghost hunting. I
Yes.
used to do like the
Yeah.
urbex type of stuff when I was younger.
Yeah, no, it was a project that Liana pitched, and we went to some haunted like trail in Texas at like midnight and hung out there in the dark for quite a long time, and then we went back to our studio at like stayed till like 3 a.m. and then did a ghost hunt there. It was very, very interesting.
Damn, that sounds like it
Yeah.
could go into very, very creepy territory because I mean, like it's one thing to go like in the middle of the night, go ghost hunting, and then go back home to like your home or apartment or whatever. But staying until 3 o'clock in the morning, that's just like I would no, I would be too freaked out. I'm just like,
Yeah.
see you guys. Absolutely.
It was too freaky. Being on the trail was more freaky, and I was like the skeptic person in our group. So my concern was more like, hey, we have a bunch of camera equipment. We're in the middle of like this park after dark. There's no lights whatsoever except ours, so we can be seen from very far away, but we can't see anybody. This is getting scary. And then yeah, and that was the first like big project I ever worked on with Liana. So it was like a crazy introduction to working with each other.
Yeah, no, I remember whenever like the Game Informer days when she was a writer there and everything, and she was at Bungie doing accessibility. She's been doing so much stuff around just everywhere in the industry, and I feel like it's one of those cool things of where we were talking about this before that everyone knows who everyone is. Like it's a massive
Yeah.
industry, but it's also very small, and I feel like what was that kind of example that you've seen because I know that Digital Trends went and they recommended you for the part at IGN. I think that that's one of the best examples because everyone's just different with everybody.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. It was pretty much that. It was like having my name sort of like, brought up in these conversations that otherwise if I was just filling out an application online, they would have never sort of came up. But like I think the most important part was like I realized that you have to show up for everybody when they vouch for you and really deliver on them vouching for you. And then yeah, your name just gets passed around even more. I think it was definitely that. It was seeing how quickly I got in at IGN, and then after that, after like getting a byline at Kotaku, like getting them at other places like Variety, Digital Trends, Gizmodo, like being able to do stuff at other places so quickly. I think definitely you notice like how connected everything is. And it is strange too, because this all happened during like lockdown. So like all of these people, I always say they're just like the little people in my phone. Like I had never met anyone in person ever until I think Gamescom 2022 was the first time IGN brought me, and I met everybody who like I had seen on a screen for like years and even worked with at that point for like a year and a half, but like I had never met. Yeah, so you realize how sort of tight knit everything is, especially when you meet everyone for the first time.
Yeah, that was kind of my similar experience whenever I applied to do freelance at IGN. And it was such an interesting kind of process because originally I had wanted to go in as a writer and do reviews and do guides there and just basically do all written work. And I didn't know it was even an option for me to go into video editing. So I was referred from Tom to Mark Medina, and he was like, yeah, we need editors. I'm just like, I can apply as an editor. Okay, sounds good. So I ended up applying and I got in like a month and a half later, and it was just
Yeah.
everything snowballed from there. And I've done like I think almost 60 videos now at IGN.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a crazy. I think wow, no, it's been officially a year that I've been there. That's nuts, actually.
That's insane. Wait, just personally because I have like the insider like knowledge of having done some of these, what sort of segments have you been doing on there? Like videos have you been working on there?
So okay, so the Indiana Jones Devs React, that was my editing.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
let's see, what was it? I did some Enzoi work for guides. I've done the walkthrough for Resident Evil 9, that main video. I did the entire video walkthrough for South of Midnight. I also did the entire walkthrough for Pragmata. And I've been doing
Okay,
like little
cool.
guide videos in between. So I did like some of Leon's snippiest lines in Resident
Yeah.
Evil 9. God, there were just several others. Like, what was it? I'm even losing track of like some of the guides I've done, but like there were other ones that I
Yeah.
did and mixed in there in the bunch that are
Yeah.
absolutely like so much fun to do.
Props for doing guides. I feel like that would be such a detailed edit. I was doing daily fix, so it was mostly like just cutting back from B-roll to A-roll mostly, or finishing podcasts like for the VOD version to put on YouTube and stuff. So it was very much like A-roll and B-roll and just cutting back and forth between stuff. I feel like guides is like a super specific like edit. It's like you need to show this here.
Yeah. Okay. So now that I remember it, I did a
Mhm.
lot of guides for Death Stranding. Actually, I did a boss guide and
Yeah.
I did all of the hot tubs guides
Oh.
for there. That one I would probably say is probably the most intensive work I've ever done because you have to be very specific with the map and the map orientation. I'm so sorry for anyone who worked on Death Stranding who hears this, but it was not fun to deal with the map orientation with Death Stranding at all. Death Stranding 2 in particular. But when I was going through that, I was like, I didn't even know that you could just have a hot tub like stranded in the middle of the snow, right over there, perched, and it's so missable. That's the thing. And I looked and I was like, there's steam coming from there. Oh, fuck, it's a hot tub. Jesus Christ. So I have to ask, what was the video that you worked on throughout your career so far that you're like, that's the video I'm most proud of?
I don't know. Like one of the coolest ones was when I got to produce an episode of Unlocked and we had Phil Spencer. And like that was insane. It was I think the 500th episode of Unlocked and we had Phil Spencer on. That was like a super cool moment. Um Another one I think was like Need for Speed. I don't remember which Need for Speed. It might have been Heat. I did a review for it, and I still watched that cut, and I'm just like, damn, that was really good. And I remember when I got interviewed, I was interviewed a few times at Kotaku for a full-time position. They had a lot of internal restructuring stuff that was happening a lot, so they kept me on as a freelancer. But I went into their offices, and I came in, and on the screen playing was that Need for Speed Heat review because they had liked it so much. So I think maybe that one. I also really love. I did a Life is Strange video essay. It was pretty fun because I got to shoot it in areas where I grew up in like high school and relate, memories to the actual game. And I just thought it looked good. And yeah, I think those are my favorites for now.
Man, I'm trying to think because now that's making me think of which one I enjoyed doing the most. I don't know. I would have to say like the walkthrough for Resident Evil 9 because not only was that very in depth, it was a lot of all the collectibles, all like keychains and bobbleheads and all that kind of stuff. But it was kind of like a circling, a 360, like a oh my god, what's the word for it? It's kind of just like a full circle moment. That's what I wanted to say. Of where the first game I ever played when I was a kid was Resident Evil 1 remake when I was 11. And then now I get to actually do work for the Resident Evil series. And that was that was crazy to me. So I would have to say that one because that one was pretty memorable. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah. I think another fun one was in my own like sort of YouTube videos and stuff, I covered Cyberpunk a lot and specifically modding. And I finally got to do a Cyberpunk modding video for IGN that I got to voice, and I basically got to handle everything workflow wise, and that was like so much fun to be able to do like a game that you actually like really are passionate about and enjoy versus covering just games that are constantly coming up in news.
You see, that brings me to the next segment. Actually, that went in very nicely to the next topic because I know how much of a fan you are as well of Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah. And that was, guys, I just have to preface this. Most of me and Alan's conversations revolve around Cyberpunk 2077 because we are just huge fans of the game and the DLC. I have to ask, so when you are covering Cyberpunk or just experiencing the game in general, what is your main thing that you just enjoy about the game? Because a lot of people say, oh, I enjoy the art or I enjoy the story. What is the gravitational pull for that game for you?
I don't even know at this point anymore. I've spent almost 1,000 hours in that game at this point. I think it's just like, and granted, I play this game heavily modded. I have like at least over 400 mods on my playthrough right now. I think it's just like the immersion that you're capable of. I recently did a video like just covering immersion mods, and yeah, it's just like the immersion that you're capable of in that game is like crazy. I think one of the things that like blew my mind was I did a playthrough most recently where I couldn't drive and I could only use public transit. Just because as someone who's from New York City, like most of us don't drive and we just use transit. So I was like, I'm going to do that. And then I had other mods that, you know, made you have to eat and sleep, and like it gave you basically like a needs system like The Sims or like a actual survival game. And so, yeah, I moved to a player home that was near the subway. I found myself like planning out a day, riding the subway to all my missions, and it locked it so that like if I'm traveling like that, I can only do a mission or two in an in-game day. So it made me plan things out, like between loadouts, where I was going to stop to eat, like a bunch of stuff like that. And I just thought it was super immersive in that way. And I think that's what draws me back the most every time. I'm just like, I want to live in Night City again. So like, I want to play it again.
Yeah, that was, I think, the game that reminded me the most and was the closest to what I would consider a almost accurate depiction of what Manhattan is. Because you have the grunginess of it. You have that kind of feel of where everyone's bumping into everyone. Everyone kind of knows everyone in certain parts, like Little Italy or Chinatown. And you see that kind of like realistic, but almost kind of too realistic way of where like Grand Theft Auto, it covered its surroundings in a fairly realistic point. But I feel like Cyberpunk does it in a way of where it captures the magic of what the city is as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I played one playthrough for Cyberpunk in VR, and like that scale is so insane. And just like, yeah, it's definitely a difference in the presentation between like something like GTA, because like the style of Cyberpunk like makes you want to walk down an alleyway and see what's down there, or you know, go to a certain area. Especially in VR, when I was playing, it was just like I had to look everywhere and I was constantly just looking up because it's just like it's insane.
Really is. And that's, you know, a kudos to you for, by the way, being able to handle VR, because as a motion sickness girly, I could, no, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
no, it took some getting used to.
I like the moment I started playing Dead Space Remake, the 360 areas were just like the, what was it? The anti-gravity areas were just not my friend.
Oh, yeah.
I was not, I was doing a playthrough of that on YouTube, and I looked up and I was like, nope, absolutely not. We're not doing this today.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, it took some time, but yeah. Once you get used to it, it's not too bad.
Okay, fair. But one of the next topics I want to go, I want to kind of pivot back to Owlchemy. When you are doing production in Owlchemy, are you mainly doing videos and editing? Because I know that whenever people hear of Owlchemy Labs, they hear, oh, this is the VR studio. This is the one that creates a lot of VR games. Are you editing trailers? What is the main thing that you are doing a lot of the time? Like, what is a typical day in the life?
So basically, I do anything video is pretty much sort of like under my sort of jurisdiction. So social videos like TikToks, you know, Instagram Reels, stuff like that. Trailers, ads, any spots that we might have, like in a showcase, like we did the VR showcase recently, stuff like that. We are owned by Google, so there are times where we do video involving them as well. So anything really video related at the studio, I have my hands in usually. And so that could be anything from shooting something in the studio, like we have a stream room basically, where we record a lot of content, to making TikToks at home, capturing gameplay. It's funny that you mentioned the motion sickness thing, because I will be in the game in my headset looking through sort of the nose hole at my screen using our capture tools, having a separate camera moving around in space that I can also see in my headset. So I'm seeing like a 4D view of myself capturing gameplay and stuff. So luckily I have my VR legs, because that would probably make a lot of people sick. But yeah, so it's recording stuff like that, and then editing, working with other people at the studio if we have to get things like voiceover for a specific character. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just like jumping on whatever video project we have upcoming, whether it's a trailer or a social video, and then getting that gameplay recorded, getting it edited down, and depending on if it's like a big trailer or something like that, then working with our audio team to get that mixed, and yeah, pushing out the final video.
So typically, like whenever you're editing, because I know depending on the video, it can take like various amounts of times. Like if a TikTok video could take like, a little less than under an hour, but like a longer video could take up to a day. When you are doing a project and you're working with everyone in tandem, what is the biggest project that you say that you guys have done for Owlchemy?
Um, well, not to bring up the ghost hunt again, but it's an hour long, essentially a TV episode, and I did it by myself. I shot that by myself, edited it. It just yeah, that was a month and a half it took to actually get that done.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, that was my life for like a minute. I think that was our biggest project so far in terms of like just the size of the project. It was about I think 13 hours of footage that got condensed into 1 hour of video.
That is insane.
Yeah,
I so much Red Bull and caffeine must have been consumed for that
yeah,
project because
a
that
lot.
is
Yeah,
man, it's just like, okay, DoorDash, great. Okay, get back to work. Like, just hone in on
yeah.
everything. Did they like, okay, I'm curious because I know that projects are different with everything, but for that one,
Mhm.
was there a specific deadline that you had to meet with that? Or was it something like,
Halloween.
oh my God, of
Yeah,
course, never mind.
yeah, and it was done the morning of Halloween, and I was over Halloween that year. By the time we published it, and I was like, "Get Halloween out of my face! I'm sick of it."
It's just, I don't
Yeah,
want to deal with this anymore. I've been experiencing Halloween for like the
yeah,
entirety right now.
exactly. Yeah,
No, that's
yeah, that was definitely the biggest one.
I can't even imagine because like I mean like I understand like because like I used to edit whatchamacallit 7-hour VODs for streamers back when I started doing video editing, but 13 hours of footage, like multiple camera angles or one straight camera footage.
Multiple. So I had a camera, and then I had asked everyone to record as much as they could on their phones separately, um, just if there was like anything interesting going on. And then I actually had like cameras like pinned to people and stuff like that, like little action cams. So there was like maybe 8 or 9 different perspectives to make up all those hours of footage, and then it was just like cutting that all together.
I can't like oh so that's really really awesome, but the brain is probably hurt like I can't.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's pretty cool though. I mean like to look at it objectively, I feel like that is such a cool opportunity to be able to create something really really witty and fun and just like spooky for people to enjoy. Is that something now because you've had the experience with this, is it something that you would consider doing again for like next year, like a Christmas special or like I don't know, like a
yeah.
different kind of like holiday special for that kind of thing.
Well, that's another thing about Liana. She loves her spooky stuff. So next year there will probably most definitely be a ghost hunt.
Nice. Very
So we'll
nice.
probably do it again. And we're making changes to make it less of a humongous project. And having done one now, like I feel like I could do it a lot faster this time. But definitely, yeah. And we're another great thing about working with people like Liana, and our whole team is great, is we're just always throwing crazy ideas out there, and trying to like figure out what we could actually do feasibly and what could stick. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. And that's, something of where a lot of trial and error comes into when videos that need to be done by a certain time. I feel like people put a lot of emphasis on how terrible crunch is with certain industry, like, certain parts of the industry in general. But I feel like sometimes there is a positive side to crunch of where it allows the person to see what we can do creatively in the minimal amount of time that we have in
Yeah.
order to do it. So.
Yeah, I think it's like, yeah, it's definitely a restraint that helps you get like super creative with just how you attack something. Like figuring out how to do that. I was like, okay, I'll edit my video from my perspective and get like a coherent story built out from my video, and then I will layer everyone else's over it, and like if they have a better perspective than me, I'll use that one. Like, and so you figure out how to like organize everything in a short amount of time.
Absolutely. And so
Yeah.
the next topic that I want to dive into is games we are playing currently. And it's one of the things of where I know that so many games are coming out consistently.
Mhm.
Every single day, it feels like there's something new that's dropping. What is a game? Now, I want to take a different approach to the question because I know people ask, oh, what new games are we playing? Because we know that everyone is playing Sorrows or they're just waiting for GTA 6 to drop. I want to know
Mhm.
what indie games are you enjoying right now at the moment,
Oh,
if any?
so many. And I literally have a list of all the ones that are coming out soon.
Yes. Coffee Talk
So
Tokyo.
um, I think like my favorite game right now, and it's like the game that is I think excited me the most this year, is Mixtape. I think that game is phenomenal, and like everything about it is so good. And it just like makes me want to play more of it. And then also Replaced has been really good
Oh,
too.
nice. I haven't heard of that one.
That one's that like uh, I forget what they call the art style. It's like the same art style as like Octopath Traveler. It's like 2D, like HD 2D sort of situation where it's pixelated, but it's very like artistically driven. It's a cyberpunk title, basically where you're like an AI trapped in a human's body, and you're trying to sort of rectify that, and you're going through these like it's really gorgeous. The art style. The combat can get a little stale after a while, but exploring the world is actually really cool. And then I'm trying to think if there's any other indies that I've been playing. I think it's mostly those two. I have Wax Heads downloaded, but I need to actually play it.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, I'm actually in
Mm.
the process of about to be playing The Bookwalker. It's an indie title where you are a writer getting sucked into the world of the things that you
Yeah.
are writing, and I cannot wait to play that. I'm patiently waiting for Coffee Talk Tokyo to release because that I love
Yes.
the Coffee Talk series. It is relaxing. It is just a joy to play. I would highly recommend it for people who just want something chill and cozy. Cozy Grove is something that I've been also diving into. It's something that like ever since that game came out, it's just been a joy. Like you're just
Yeah.
literally a little Boy Scout or Girl Scout, and you're just helping bear ghosts throughout the entire way. And it's
Yeah.
just
I
so
I
cool.
love that game. I haven't played it in a minute. I have to get back to it, but it's so good.
It really is. It's one of those things too of where like a lot of indie places have just been killing it lately. It's so
Oh,
wonderful
yeah.
to see like the evolution of how we're just like going more towards the indie mindset instead of heavily relying on AAA developers, which don't get me wrong, like they do an amazing job at what they do, but I feel like the only way to have those kinds of AAA developers within the indie space is to like really nurture them and see them, grow and just evolve into something. So,
Yeah. I definitely think like the rise of like indie titles getting a lot more attention, especially since like last year, I think has just been like I think people are kind of tired of a lot of the aspects of gaming that gets pushed onto AAA games because of like the financial side of it. Um, like especially games even like Marathon right now. Like I absolutely adore that game's art style, and I've been playing it a lot, but I kind of put it down for a little while just because it's like it being an extraction shooter for me personally. There's not a lot of meat on that bone. I can like play that every once in a while, and then I have to like go do something else. But I think people are like just tired of games that try to become your job, your second job, and like try to take up every part of your life. And games that do something more creative, which indies get a chance to do because they're not taking an enormous financial risk for like a large publisher or something. Um, yeah. So I think it's just allowed it to become like this really creative space that's like doing new things, especially with like Wax Heads. Like I said, it's just gorgeous. Like it's the most movie like game that I've ever played that I'm happy that it has that presentation.
oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. And
Yeah.
it's cool to see like games get that chance to just live in that creative world. Like Little Nightmares when that came out. It was such a revolutionary
Yeah.
title that kind of bended the way 2D platformers were going, kind of like this Metroidvania horror style that we really,
Yeah.
really never saw much of. And it's really interesting that you mentioned Marathon because I got back into Overwatch a tiny bit and I
Mhm.
was reminded easily why I stopped playing it.
Yeah.
It got to a point of where it was just like all of the things that I loved about Overwatch when it first came out in 2016. I don't see that anymore, and it's disheartening because like everything has been changed so much within the core structure of what Overwatch was. I remember there was a bug that I encountered. It was kind of funny. I couldn't see any of the characters. I just saw an outline of what the red
Okay.
team was and the blue team was. I'm like, that's not how this is supposed to work, you guys. So
Yeah.
but one of the next topics
Yeah.
that I want to dive into in terms of that gaming love that we have for indies is when it comes down to kind of like the brick and mortar of what makes like what games we love, what inspires us to do what we do. When you are editing your videos and when you're going out the production of your videos, is there a specific game or aesthetic that inspires the videos that you produce?
Um, I would say it has to be, I think like at least over the past couple of years, it's had to be like the old, I feel like it's so overused, but the Y2K aesthetic, I'm allowed to use it. I was alive. Uh, but just like, just like a lot of chrome, a lot of like futuristic in a way that we don't get anymore. I don't think futuristic in a way that was very optimistic kind of way. Um, that aesthetic drives a lot of the branding around my channel, a lot of the even like my intro sting and all of that stuff, my logo, like it influences a lot. And I think also just by its nature, because I cover cyberpunk so much, cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, those are definitely, I think, the biggest influences.
Very nice. Yeah, the biggest one for me by far has to be Souls and Souls like that was what branded my channel like for 5 years. Now I switched during a time of when like I was doing variety, so I completely understand that, of where it was just like everything now has to do with like lore and Elden Ring, and guys, I don't mean this in the way that it's supposed to be meant. I mean this as a joke, but masochism, because that's literally what it is. I platinumed Elden Ring twice on PC and on Xbox when it first came out, and I remember, what was it? I remember hearing one of my friends say, and this was such a cool thing, of where the aesthetic that you lean towards is where your personality is most safe. So I feel like that is such a cool thing, of where like where you feel safest is probably with the cyberpunk. Where I feel most safest is, oddly enough, with Souls and Souls. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix.
Yeah, I know, it's interesting. I remember like, and guys, don't judge me, okay? Go in the comments below. I won't look. Don't worry. It's one of those weird concepts of where like we gravitate to the games that make us feel most at home. And that's one of the next questions I have is, when you are gaming and when you're thinking of like the games that make you feel most at home, what are those types of games look like for you?
I think it depends. I think I'd identify feeling at home with a game usually like with a certain time period, and I find it to be around the launch of the original Xbox. So games like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, which is basically Jet Set Radio Future's like spiritual successor, that makes me feel at home because I remember playing that game as like a kid. So which is also in line with the whole like it was the early 2000s and it was very colorful time for games. It was very no one was chasing realism just yet. Everything was very like, it had a very clear art direction and style and look, and I think games like that would make me feel most at home. And then also, which is also the same time period and the same platform, RPGs. I think Bethesda games have just a certain feel to them that I think is like super nostalgic, and just like my first open world RPG was actually Morrowind. So yeah, anything that feels like that just takes me back.
Man, that's, oh God, that's a callback. Jeez, I feel old. Thanks, Alan.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm right there.
Jeez, it's weird because it's like I'm turning 34 this year, and I don't like it yet because I keep being reminded by I was about to say youngins. That's okay. We're getting there. It's so weird because like I'm seeing like so many different pop culture references. I mean, you know, when you feel like you are just more and more out of the loop and you actually have to ask other people questions of where it's like, what does this mean necessarily? I don't get the reference. Like I had to ask someone what 6'7" was a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah, no, the side effect of my job of doing social stuff is that I know way too much. And like I have a lot of younger cousins and stuff. I hear them talking and I'm like, I know everything that you're saying. And it's so stupid. It's very funny though. I feel like younger people's sense of humor is hilarious. But yeah, I feel like I'm not supposed to know this many generations of internet slang.
No, and that's the worrying part. I even remember like back, what was it, when I think I was like even in my early 20s when dabbing was a thing. I don't even know if that was even like culturally relevant for our generation to know that, but we nurtured it. We took it on and it was fun. Like even that, oh my God, do you remember planking? That used to be a thing too.
Yeah.
I'm opening up all of the core memories now.
All of these were repressed for a reason.
You're welcome. It's so fun too because it's like there are certain memories like that I'll have with gaming, and this is actually something I'm curious about. When your like fondest memories of gaming hit, I feel like that's when it gets triggered by like a nostalgic thing that's happening in a new release. So for example, Fire Red and Leaf Green, we know that those were really big hits they released, and everyone's nostalgia craze was just like, oh my God, I need this. Is there like a recent game that came out that kind of released like a core memory that for you that was like, wait, I never thought about this in like how many ever years?
Yeah. Um, Diablo. Whenever there's a new release for Diablo, I always have to go back because that was my first like hardcore like action RPG that I ever really got into. I think it was I got like Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction uh in like the fourth grade, and I was doing like end game runs with like grown men after doing my homework. I was just like, I gotta get on, everybody's playing. Um and so yeah, that's definitely one. Every time there's a new Diablo release and they just had their new DLC release, so I had to go back in for that. Um I feel like Marathon in the sense that Bungie's sort of gunplay is like very dialed in. Like you know when you're playing a Bungie game, and yeah, so it brought it back for me in that sense. And then the new Life is Strange, which I need to play more of, but yeah, getting to go back to those is always super nostalgic too.
Yeah, I think for me it was getting to play Forspoken because it reminded me of like early PS2. Now I've it's kind of interesting because I haven't played a PlayStation game until I played Death Stranding. That was technically my first PlayStation game.
Yeah.
But I played it on PC, so I don't know. I found a loophole somewhere. But it was one of those weird moments of where like playing Forspoken on the PS5, it was so much like playing an older style game, but it was really well done. And that for me was just like, okay, it's interesting the way that even they did the fade outs of different like certain scenes and everything. It was very
Yeah.
like back in the day coded. And I so enjoyed
Yeah.
that. So,
I
but
loved Forspoken. That game was so good.
it was so good. It was so witty too, and I just like loved the humor that she had with everything. And it was also like so dramatic in certain instances for no
Mhm.
reason. That's just it made
Yeah.
it fantastic. But she took the stereotype to like New Yorker and New Jerseyan to a whole new level
Mhm.
because like I was born in New Jersey, so like I
Yeah.
remember like seeing that parts of the way that she would talk, and I'm just like, yeah, I can understand this. I feel kind of called out, to be honest. I have to ask. This is one where I will ask this sometimes on the podcast, but I feel like this will
Mhm.
work particularly well with your love of cyberpunk coded games. If you could create a game that, music, aesthetic, everything, what would be your idea of like your perfect game, including mechanics, all of that?
Oh, I I don't know. I've thought of this a couple times. Um, it would definitely be a cyberpunk game. Um, I think it would be cyberpunk almost unchanged from cyberpunk 2077, although a bit leaning more towards lifestyle sim, allowing you to sort of uh, do the things that I guess I'm doing in my most recently like modded playthrough, where like you're actually eating, you're sustaining a character, you're hanging out. Like, for example, one of the mods is you can, after getting in a gunfight, you get extremely stressed out, and the only way to fix that, and it manifests in ways like you'll ADS, like you'll aim, and your gun will actually be shaking because your character like is so upset. And so the only way to fix that is to go hang out with one of the like NPCs, like hang out with Jackie or hang out with Judy. So you have to like maintain systems like that as well as just getting through the game. I think it would be something like that. It would be I think almost what people are expecting of GTA 6, but in a cyberpunk wrapper. Just yeah.
God, that actually sounds pretty interesting because like I've thought of what mine would be several times. It would be a Souls like cozy game of where you have your own home, your own area, like kind of Stardew Valley, but make it a Souls like. And I
Yeah.
feel like that would be so interesting because like each day is a new dungeon that you can go into and then collect resources, do all of that, but you get to decorate your home. You can have like a cute little ghost in the corner of the room that's kind of like your little alarm clock. And it's like, I've thought
Yeah.
about this way too in depth. So, but one of the last questions that I wanted to get into was when you see the gaming industry, and I know that I talk about, Xbox, I talk about the state of the industry currently right now with layoffs and, what exactly is Xbox doing at the moment? What do we see a lot of these bigger players doing in order to make the consumer their number one priority? What do you see in terms of how technology is going to move in the future? Because we're seeing, the Steam Deck not being released anymore right now due to, certain things not being shippable because of tariffs, unfortunately.
I have mine.
Um,
It's always at hand.
I got mine recently.
Oh yes,
Yes, I love it.
sweet.
I love it. Just like
Thank
this is
goodness you
my.
got it before you can't.
I know. I was so happy. I got it last year, and sage is my favorite color. So I was like, I am putting that sage on there pronto. So, but everyone, we know that parts are going to be expensive. We know that the industry
Mhm.
in and of itself is in a state of where even though things are, I want to say partially okay, there's a certain part of the industry that we see that's kind of just gasping for air to a degree.
Yeah.
What do you think, in your opinion, could be this industry's saving grace in terms of a game? Could it be technology? What do you think?
Um, Honestly, I think that like right now, personally, my PlayStation and my Xbox are in those cabinets behind me, and they're both unplugged and have not been used in like months. And I have actually an entire rig hidden away in there that's running Steam OS on it now. I made a Steam machine because we can't seem to get them yet, and yeah, I love my Steam Deck. It's incredible, and it's just because I think that like Valve is like really good at being consumer friendly in the way that um, I buy my games once, I can play them here at my desk on my Steam Deck when I want to go sit over there, um, on my TV if I wanted to, and there's constant sales, and I think that it's like if you compare that to something like the Switch, which argues that it has the same value proposition, you could play it handheld, you could play it at your TV. I think the difference there is like affordability. I think that's a huge thing that sets Valve apart. Even though they're so similar in that way, where you could do it on the couch, you could play on the go, and even things like Game Pass, which was like an incredible value at one point, and then became so expensive that I was like, why do I have this? I can wait for a game to be on sale on Steam, own it, and then also play it wherever I want, the way that Xbox, was like really pushing. Um, and then I think that just like new IPs and how we said like indie games are doing incredibly well lately. That's my issue with Sony. Is just like I love The Last of Us. I don't want to play it again with high resolution graphics. I I want, bring back Jack and Daxter, bring back, Infamous. Like, give me the things I miss about Sony and grew up with Sony. So yeah, I think they're going to have to find a better way to make things more affordable for gamers, which I know is difficult in this weird time period where everything is more expensive. Um, just be more consumer friendly, and then also just like deliver more variety. I understand that like safety and like making another sequel is just that safe move, especially when games are so expensive to make. But yeah, I think that people are craving new things, and it's kind of sad that we see even when we do get new things, like how we saw with Hi-Fi Rush. I think it was last year, or maybe it was even the year before that. Time is weird. It was a new great idea that did well, and then was not rewarded for having done any of that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think all those things need to change. I think we need new ideas. We need affordable, access to games and hardware, um, and which is more consumer friendly practices. I think Microsoft is really trying to right the ship right now and get back in people's good graces. I think it's going to take a little bit more, um, especially in Microsoft's case, because I don't think they've proven that they can ship games. They've proven that they could buy studios, but shipping games has been particularly difficult.
It's interesting because I have this thought, and I know I'm probably going to piss off some people. It's okay. I've gotten
Yeah.
to the point of where I find it comical. I really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But it's
Also, like
one.
you have every console behind you. I
I
don't know
d-
why anyone should
yes,
be upset.
exactly. Well, no, I got yelled at by someone in the comments when I used to work at Windows Central. Someone said, "Why do you have a PlayStation in your background if you work at Windows Central?" I'm like, my guy, live and breathe gaming. I'm just like,
Yeah.
but okay, but it's one of those weird things of where like with Microsoft, I feel like, and I've said this before in other podcasts, but I feel like they're in the process of sundowning in a way of where they're going to turn into Sega, and they are going to be more of a publishing company instead of a place that actively has day one releases like Fable, Gears, Halo. I
Mhm.
feel like those poster childs were incredible for the time that they were in, but right now we're getting to a point in the gaming industry where unfortunately AI and money are more important than the consumer. And I used to really like Xbox because that was actually the first platform I ever got to store my content on, was an Xbox.
Mhm.
And I played Gears of War Unlimited Edition, and I fell in love with the entire thing.
Yeah.
It was
So good.
incredible. You know, seeing Ori and the Blind Forest on that was just fucking phenomenal. And to see what now it's become, it's kind of sad in a way. I know that Asha is trying to bring things forward in a way of where she's reducing the cost of Game Pass. She's, you know, trying to steer things in a positive direction. But at this point, Microsoft and Xbox for me go hand in hand. You can't, you know, write off the sins of Microsoft because they are attached easily to what Xbox is doing, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's definitely also another thing is just that I think could be their saving grace is like work with what you have right now instead of continuing to, you know, people will say that it's like an arms race. Everyone wants the newest and best graphics, but like the console like manufacturers and like large publishers, they're the ones setting the pace for that. If you make your consumers expect those things, then they will. If you don't, then they won't. And so I would be fine if we didn't get another PlayStation for like another couple of years. I feel like it's more than capable of pushing out amazing games that look incredible. The same with the Xbox. And yeah, so I feel like everyone's always worrying about the biggest next thing or the next piece of hardware. And I would really kind of just like them to go back to basics and like make something incredible on these consoles that we have right now. And yeah, bring back IPs that like everyone misses and
Eternal Darkness.
Oh, please.
Blobber Team, please remake Eternal Darkness. You're already remaking Silent Hill 1. I need it. I want that in my life so much.
Crazy.
It's one of those things too where it's like the GameCube was like my home when I was a kid. Like on a personal note, I went into so many different hospital visits when I was a kid. I have what's called an overactive immune system, so I get sick very, very easily. And COVID, that was a really bad time because I ended up, 2 years ago, getting neurovirus, and that was like COVID's older brother. And I remember getting that, and I was just like out for like over a month and a half. And gaming is one of those like safety points because when I was a kid, like Resident Evil, Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, you know, Zelda and the Wind Waker, like those were all like classics that now people and the younger generation can even experience through different lenses. And I feel like in one way, having those remakes and having those remasters are so crucial to the preservation of gaming as a whole. But also, I don't need another remake of The Last of Us.
I don't at all. Like it's gotten a bit ridiculous. And
like, I loved it at the time when it was fresh for me when I first played it, and I loved the second one and I bawled like a fucking baby, but I don't need like a remake of the remake of the remake. Same goes, I'm going to be bold here. Same goes for Resident Evil 1. I don't need a remake for that game.
Yeah. I think the Resident Evil games are special in that like I don't even know if they expect everyone to play every single one of them. Like I was waiting for a remake of Resident Evil 4. Like I think people wait for their Resident Evil to get remade and then that's the one that they go get. But like The Last of Us, it's like I don't need that to be in any higher graphical fidelity. Like it speaks for itself. It's good. It's a good game. I don't need it. I don't need to see like every beard hair that's on Joel or something like that.
It's like, okay, we know Joel's an asshole. Let's get over it. I'm so sorry for people. I'm just gonna go. I'll go right now. It's okay.
I know. We're gonna make somebody bad, but it's a good game.
It is, and I'm Team Abby all the way.
Yeah.
Like in this economy, I am Team Abby. But Alan, I do have to say thank you so much for joining me for this podcast. It was super fun getting to chat with you about literally all things in gaming and alchemy.
Yes. No, thank you for having me on. It was super fun.
Absolutely. But if you guys like our faces and what we do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. We're actually getting very close to 200 subscribers on the podcast channel. So I am super, super excited. And we're getting almost to 5,000 subscribers on the main channel. So you guys will be seeing a celebration video soon on my end. And as always, may your coffee treat you well and life give you a nat 20. I will see you all in the next one. Bye, you guys.